Welcome to Truth Uncompromised. I am your host, Rhonda. Join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Truth is peace. Truth is justice and freedom to love, live, and be. Music provided by SourceVibrations.com. I am love. I am peace. I am free. I have abundance. I have everything within me. For I was, for I am, for I always be. We are love. We are peace. We are free. We have abundance. We have everything within us. For we are, for we will always be. For Mother Earth is love. For Mother Earth has peace. For Mother Earth is free. For Mother Earth has abundance. For Mother Earth has everything within her. For she was, for she is, for she will always be. And so it is spoken. So it has been written, and it is done.
Okay, family. Welcome to the Truth Uncompromised show. I am your host, Rhonda, and I know we've been away for quite a bit, so I'll get you caught up on what was going on. I had a lot of stuff going on and took a little mini staycation right quick. So I'm excited about tonight's topic. It is 2017, The Rise of the Woman. So, of course, we all that are spiritual enter and understand that the way they calculate the current calendar year is not really accurate. So we are technically have not turned over a new year, but I did want to take this pause to kind of recap on what has went on in 2017 and how the feminine divine energy has returned and is on the rise and how that applies to all of us. So with that said, let me bring on the family. Here we go. Just a second. Okay, I think I see Brother Sean. Here we go. Peace and love, brother. How are you?
Greetings, beloved. I'm well, and you?
I'm good. Can't complain at all. Good to hear your voice.
Likewise. I've been anxious to get back on here.
I know you have, and it's been totally on me. With so many balls in the air, but that's okay. We're back in the saddle and we're going to get it cracking. So, okay, let me bring on Sis. I don't see Brother Wendell yet. I don't think I see him, so let me bring on Sis Sandra. Greetings, sis. How are you?
Greetings to you and to the family. I'm trying to get over a cold, but I'm happy to be here.
Okay.
Greetings, sis. Greetings.
Again.
Well, good to have you. Good to have you. Okay, so I do want to real quick, because we have been gone. Well, I've been gone for a couple of weeks here. So first of all, some of you probably know, a lot of you don't know that I actually went on vacation out of the country. And in addition to that, I just had a lot of stuff behind the scenes I was working on. But I did want to share with the family kind of my experience, because I actually went to Cuba. So very, very interesting experience. And I wanted to just share with the family real quick. Number one, just from an aesthetics perspective, if you've ever heard that Cuba is kind of stuck in time from an aesthetic look from the 1950s, they were spot dead on. Literally, any of the vehicles that you saw, which now they're using to drive tourists around for tourist attractions, are actually vehicles from the 50s. I mean, really, really cool. A lot of folks have, I'm sure, because they opened up tourism. Well, the United States, rather, is allowing U.S. citizens to visit there legally. Folks are keeping up their vehicles, so those 1950 vehicles are really, really snazzy. They do have some up-to-date vehicles. I don't know if those are certain foreign people with them or some type of government officials, but for the most part, vehicles are stuck in the 50s time frame. Now, what was interesting for me for Cuba, because I, was Havana, by the way. I went to Havana, so I got the opportunity to kind of walk the grounds in Havana, and I like to always look at the architect of whatever country I'm visiting to kind of get a flavor of what buildings are still standing, and I like to look at how they built them, because that'll tell you a lot about who actually built them. So two important things, and I put this on my Facebook page so some of you might know this. So first of all, we pulls into the little port, and the port has the name Sierra in it, and is named San Francisco. So I kind of chuckled at that. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then in addition to that, what really stood out to me as we begin to get in the city and walk around and all that jazz, in Havana, there still stands. Of course, it's not in total operating, but it's still visible. You can see where the original fort surrounding the city is. And so the name of that fort, so you know me, because we had got a little tour guide. He was the bomb, whatever. And so I asked him, how old is that fort? And he said, oh, yeah, that fort's been here for a very, very long time. The Spanish built it, blah, blah, etc., skippy woo. I said, do you know around the time frame? He said the 1600s. I said, what is the name of the fort? He says, Fort Mora, Morra. So my sis know how I roll. Both of my sisters, y'all, they be tripping. Whenever we get into, I had the opportunity to get into history or political discussions, they trying to pull me out because they like, oh, we don't want you going in. Come on. So her ass was stuck this time because we was on a horse and buggy. But I didn't go in. I just, let him kind of talk, get his story about the little Spanish, this, that, and the third, etc. So, of course, that name Mora, I'm like, clearly the Moors built this. I mean,
Exactly.
no doubt about it, family. You could see the way it was built, the remaining structure that's there. It has those little, them little teeth-looking things at the top. And, anybody that knows anything about the Moors and how they were builders and how they built up across Europe and across Spain, you can look at their architecture and know that they built it. And so they didn't even bother to change the name of who really was occupying that land first, which was, of course, the natives themselves, but the Moors. Okay, and then another thing, anybody that knows a little bit of history about the Moors know that the Moors ruled Spain for 700 years and finally got conquered. So, I'm saying all that to say that you could kind of see how the history that they try to cover up, but if you just know a little bit about the true history, their story that they're trying to cover up doesn't match. So as I'm walking throughout the city, I would ask about the different older buildings, and anything that was built in the 1600 range, dead on, looked just like the Moors had built it. Same architecture structure. It looked like stuff out of England, as a matter of fact, over in that area. I mean, spitting image. Then stuff that was built in the 1900s, that had a little bit of different flavor, but you could still tell that it was a kind of the Moors. And I would ask, well, who used to live here? And that's when you got into them saying, well, Spanish ruler or Spanish businessmen, such and such lived here. But anything from that time period, from the 1600s up to that late 1800s, they really can't account for. So, I was kind of chuckling to myself. And just a lot of the names in Cuba very, very closely match names in the West Coast of the Americas, specifically like Nevada and California. So I really couldn't get a true story behind that. Some of the people couldn't tell me how long those places held those names. Some of them say that, now check this out, that Spain renamed them. So I'm sitting up here like, okay, so we had that same name, Sierra, in California. And it was a couple of other names. I'm like, so how did dude from Spain name? So it was really, really tripped out, family. So it just goes to show you that anytime you visit these places, and specifically, I'm only speaking to the islands, they tell on themselves through the names and the dates. So I'll pause in case somebody wants to put something on it, and then I'll give a little more insight, and then we'll move on.
You also got to look at Sierra Leone and over in so-called Africa.
Yeah, that's true.
The name game been going on
for quite a while.
But we also have to remember that the Moors are the one that taught the Spaniards Latin.
Yes.
They taught them how to speak.
Absolutely. So absolutely.
Everything that they brought was based upon everything that they learned from the Moors. Other than that, they wouldn't know how to do anything. Right.
Absolutely. Even navigation to get to those islands, right?
Yeah, but they had Moors navigating the boats. They still wasn't that crafty at that time. They were still in alliance. They were still in alliance with them. It's not like the Spaniards did it by themselves. There was Moors with them. because we've always turned on each other.
That's right, and that's nothing that we can guess on, family. If you look at any of the ancient Spanish kingdom documents from the captains, because they had to keep records, they will tell you who was on those ships, on those voyages, and it was always at least one more on that voyage accounted for, at least one. So this is nothing that we're making up. It is documented fact. And so, some try to slant that. Of course, mainstream media was trying to slant that like it was their slave. No, partner. That was the navigator to show them how to get to those different lands.
And Sidney Poitier, he played El Cid, a Moor, on TV, a black and white movie. I think Sidney played a Moor in a couple movies.
Wow, now I'm going to have to go research that. That was interesting. And and I see you 215, I'm coming to you, sweetheart. Recently, I think it was last week, remember the fake-ass royal, I can't think of the lady's name, it's really irrelevant at this point, had the brooch on of the quote black or melanated man, and he had the turban on his head, and he was dressed sharp as hell. And they was trying to accuse her of being racist. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, she was depicting the royalty Moor, which,
was.
Absolutely. I mean, it was just plain as day that's what she was doing. So, that had just come out after me getting back from my trip, and I'm like, wow, now here this lady flat out boldly display a Moor, the original royalty of Europe.
Yeah.
And folks are screaming, that's a slave. When the hell did a slave wear a crown and was dressed sharp as hell?
Right. Well, another thing, too, Meghan Markle is supposed to be of the royal house of the Plantagenets. So they know who she is. If they talking about that's a love relationship, they better really investigate that a little closely, because there was a documentary. There was a documentary a couple of years ago that they went to Australia and found the true. Well, they say he's true, but he was European, so that ain't true either. But the true kings of England and stuff. They were Moors.
Yeah, I remember that. It was a white man. Yeah,
it was a white man.
That.
But that may be her daddy. See, because I don't know if she's from Australia or nothing, but she's a Plantagenet, but the Roses, the War of the Roses between the Yorks and the Lancasters is when they had a chance to substitute us out after that, and the Plantagenets came in, and now these Windsors took over by John or somebody killing his cousin or something or whatever, a 9-year-old kid.
It's interesting that you brought up Markle, that's marrying Prince Harry, because we're actually going to talk about that tonight, because there is a reason why that is going on.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's going to be a financial reason behind it, as well as a spiritual reason. So we're going to go in.
A power change. It's supposed to be the power shift from the illegitimate to the legitimate, as they call them.
Yeah.
So the illegitimate Windsors.
It's definitely that. But we're going to even go a little deeper, because I had to sit down and think. Well, to be honest, it didn't take me much, because as soon as I heard that engagement, I sat there and said, oh, they think they nickel-ass slick. I know what you're trying to do. It ain't going to work.
Yeah.
But I know what you're trying to do. So we're going to get there. Let me get 215 open their lineup because they've been patient and been holding for a little bit. So let me open them up. 215, your line is open.
Greetings. Happy New Year, everybody.
Hey, Sis Lioness, how are you, beloved?
I'm great. I was cold for a while. They tried to stuff us out with no heat and all of this and no power, but it's all good.
Wow.
They can't do anything. They can't stop us. They
That's
can't
right.
I was late coming in, but because I just got your email about half an hour ago. But anyway, with what I caught you saying, Mora and Moro means commentary. So that's the highest point. We're the highest point. and the highest points of light also, okay? So that's a return of the feminine, a return of the Aboriginal, indigenous ones. And in New Mexico, they have a national monument called El Morro, and Las Vegas. And see, that's why that stuff is happening in Las Vegas, because Fed already got moved there. A lot of things already got moved there or returned to Las Vegas, and it's all going to come out. And it means, so New Mexico, Puerto Rico has an El Morro, and they have a sign that says, someone with a prominent nose and lips from Moro, meaning snout and hill. So highest point, same thing. It's us. It's us.
Wow. Wow. And Puerto Rico also has that fort built around it that clearly you know it's built by the Moors. I don't know the name of that fort, but sorry, sis, I didn't mean to interrupt.
And Puerto Rico, Cuba, and D.C. all have the same capital, exactly the same architecture as well.
Yes, that's another thing I noticed in Cuba. You're right, and Puerto Rico, but I was shocked to see it in Cuba. I'm not going to lie. I was shocked, but then I had to remember who was running things back before Castro took over, but now in Cuba they don't use that particular building, and it looks exactly like D.C. I'll post a picture of it on Facebook. It looks exactly like D.C.'s capital, but they don't use it as the capital right now. They're using it for something else, although Castro's brother, I forget his doggone name, initials are like
Raul,
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 RC, yep. Although his initials are all around it, but they're not physically occupying it as the capital. But yes, sis, you're absolutely right. But
they will, because we've taken back all things that are ours and returning to our rightful places and thrones and situations and relationships, and just the light shined on everything correctly.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting because in Cuba it is mostly young folks. So you talking, you know, folks in their 20s, teenagers, everybody, like 99% of Cuba is melanated. Okay, so you're going to see people with woolly hair, trying to rock the locks. They absolutely love the locks over there. I got stopped so many times, and this one brother was, can you look at my locks? Am I locking it right? So they're really into the melanated features over there, you know, sisters braiding hair, you know, wearing their hair in the braids and the twists. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that nation changes. So even the way that Castro was doing stuff, them young people, they not having that. So it's going to be really interesting over the next 15 to 20 years to see how everything shifts, because they definitely have a young population, a huge young population. So, okay, so that was my experience with Cuba. The other thing that I wanted to touch on real quick, because I know I've been gone for quite some time, a couple of weeks here. You know, just a quick recap of their idea of 2017. We know the new year does not technically start until the spring equinox. Okay, that is how the ancestors did the calendar, what you call the calendar year. So I always tell people happy fake new year. But anyhow, based on their
it's the fiscal new year.
Yeah, there you go. Their fiscal new year. There you go. Their financial new year. Absolutely. Okay, so the interesting things that happen in the fiscal new year, we had a lot of unveiling this year. So I know we had it in 2016, but to me, it has really, really accelerated in 2017. And when I say unveiling, I'm talking about all of the hidden stuff that folks have been doing, dirt in the dark. Particularly, we saw a lot of, and it could be distraction, but I found it interesting that every other day, some of these bigwigs were being called out for the sexual scandals and stepping down from their positions. Somebody sent me a list of CEOs in 2017. It's a bunch of them, you all, from the top. They sent about 40, a list of 40. And you could find this out on the internet, of top U.S. CEOs that have stepped down from their positions. Now, some of them are prominent, like the Equifax dude and that whole bull crap. But a lot of them, I was surprised. I didn't know that they had a CEO step down. So I found that interesting from a financial perspective. And then, of course, in the melanated community specifically, we had a lot of shakeup with folks being exposed in the quote conscious community, a lot of frauds and fakes. And matter of fact, shoot, it went on all the way up into the new year.
It's still going on.
New Year's Eve, yeah, where folks were being called out. So I just found it interesting that as we keep moving along and through the new age, in the age of Aquarius, how things continue to be revealed. So now that doesn't mean by any means as a spiritual being that whatever information you're given, you're supposed to take it at face value. It actually means the opposite. This is really the time for you to be using discernment, using that third eye, pay attention to what's going on, to kind of go within to really enter over and understand why things are happening. So I did want to point that out. I'll pause in case somebody want to put something on it. Okay, sorry, y'all. I got a new headset, and I don't like it. I'm going to have to switch it out.
What?
Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead, sis. Mm-hmm. Our illustrious leader, Mr. Trump, said that they've been here for 250 years, and the way they got it, they plan to keep it. And I said to myself, man, if this guy is not so pompous, it's not even funny. But he's given a direct challenge because he knows the change is here. Mm-hmm. And he can't let it go. They got to hold on, you see. But as the more he holds on, the more he loses, because they're rolling down like dominoes, and there are going to be more heads rolling and things happening because he's like, I'm going to hold this land. we took this land. We took this land. This is our land. But that's not how it's going to go down.
No.
But I just want to throw that out there that that's what he said.
Yeah.
I interject here.
Yes, go ahead on, sis.
Okay. I just caution everybody. There's some things look one way and they are not. Okay. Again, the peeling back of the onion. Mm-hmm. There's nowhere else to say it. Trump, the real Trump, is only a trigger point. There are 3 or 4 of him being shown to you and have been shown to you. He's doing his job to drain the swamps. The 10 square miles of D.C. they were nothing but swamp right there. Okay, so he's doing his job. He's doing his job for all of us melanated people. So please don't get it twisted. Think what you will, think what you must, but go beyond your own thinking right now because it's pulling back an onion. This is greater than anybody knows that can speak about it right now fully.
Right.
It has to be shrouded some still, but to do, and I wish that everyone will read that tax bill and read that annex to the executive order and then read the annex to the annex because it's for you. It's going in layers being pulled back to bring about justice and judgment and joy and abundance and life again and the return of all of this. And it has to be, the masks all haven't come off yet. So, yes, just use your discernment and decipher this shit because it's shit and some of it is real good shit.
Right. That's true.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. Now you're making me want to go read that tax bill because he does one thing about Trump.
I'm going to do this. It all can't be just put on the table yet, but then a lot of things can now that we couldn't talk about before, even in reference to some of the shit that Boo Boo was saying before, okay? Even though he twisted and turned and deceitful and bully and all that kind of shit, he had to tell parts of the truth.
Yes.
And you saw the lady on the plane with the ring, with the braid around her head. I know her name. I just don't want to give her that credit. Okay? Sheila.
I know who you're talking about.
Sheila Lee. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the image when you said the braid around the head. I knew exactly.
I said it. And the ring and all sorts of things. Everybody's in place, and then in a little while, it just weeks, okay? You're not going to see half of them come back, or any of them come back for that matter. But it's not just the Congress. It's every phase of life, every category, and then they got to come back. You got to peel this onion so that it can never happen again on this mother.
Right.
Beautiful.
Well,
really beautiful.
Yes. Well, we're going to then just jump in because, hey, we already started to talk about it because I actually had a topic for discussion going back to the engagement between Prince Harry and the Merkel chick. So now, Linus, I'm glad that you're on because I needed you to kind of put your 2 cents on a couple things for me, but this was one of them. And then Brother Sean and then Sis, I know you'll be able to put your 2 cents on it as well. Okay, so now when I first heard that, I was like, okay. I immediately thought, now this is just Rhonda, this is just my little 2 cents. That don't mean a damn thing. This is just my 2 cents. I immediately thought that was a way for them to try to renew charters to do business on the land and to keep the particular quote land wealth thought it was twofold. Either they were going to say, well, see, he married to an American. Her lineage can be traced back. So we know the wealth comes through the woman. Let's be clear. The wealth is through the woman, not the man. It's through the woman. And hence is the reason I feel the move for Prince Harry to be engaged to an American who is melanated, because her mom is a melanated woman. Okay? So this is, again, about, to me, trying to secure or renew land, to be able to control the land, to control the wealth. It's not going to work, but that is what I think that this engagement is about. So I'll pause and let others put something on it.
I think this tax cut that Trump has instituted is going to cut out a lot of the other folks' money. Because since everybody can't really pay hardly anything or not going to pay as much taxes, how is the Queen and the Pope going to get their cut of this country? And also that I heard in the Queen's closing Christmas message, my son said, I didn't hear it myself, that she's telling the people that she can't serve them anymore like she used to. So there's a changing of the guards about to happen. And Merkel, I thought that they were trying to gracefully back out of holding the Rams and the charter of that land, because the charter of this land is about gone. I mean, it should be gone.
It's been up. Yeah, it's been up. It's been a couple.
It's up.
Yeah, about 4 or 5 years. I don't remember the specific year, but it's up. And, although that's a bunch of shit, too, because who really signed it or authorized those charters? That goes back to that dirty Moorish shit.
Well, our 400 years of so-called slavery is over if you put it on a 360-year calendar back from 1619. So, and you multiply it, or you ask Google how many days, and we got 144,000 days of slavery already, and that was on December 31st of last year. So they can't really hold us anymore under the Hebraic laws of the universe, because that time is up. But everybody's saying it's not until 2019, but I think they're kind of not calculating that right if you're going to do it on a 360 calendar and not a Julian. Yeah, so there's so many things that he can't renew as far as the charters are concerned.
Exactly.
They can't renew our slavery. They didn't get that Third World War started before that was over, because that's how they borrow their money to keep us pinned down in this country, is war. That last year was supposed to be a jubilee. I do believe it's a jubilee, if I'm not mistaken. And so you have to free all your slaves, and or if they didn't, and the Queen has to forgive the money debt on all those First War and Second World Wars that they borrowed to keep the debt rolling and rolling and rolling.
Well, that's if you believe that play, okay? That play was that way, with those instructions and those lines of speech and things like that. But this is well beyond all of that. Again, it's the peeling back of the onion, and all things are going to be corrected. One, when you read and get the underlining importance of those last few documents, okay?
Yes,
you'll see that they're taking back okay, let's put it this way. First, we going back, when you heal naturally, you heal in the exact opposite way that whatever illness, sickness, injury, or whatever took place. That is what is happening. It is being speeded up in all areas, in all degrees, with all swiftness, with all deliberate speed, okay? But it has to come from within the ranks of those who did whatever they did, including us. So you're seeing all this thing that looks like it's transpiring for what people think or whom people think are white people who are not, but then again, there's all manner of things that exist. So that's one playing out to fulfillment, to completion, so that once you finish that circle, you go into the other circle and the other circle and the other circle. Within that document of the annex, it says, okay, pedophilia, bullshit, abusers and stuff like that. You want to continue this shit? One, you're not going to continue it here on this Mother Earth. And I have to keep saying that because that brings in the greater circle. So when that is being played out, they're going to take back their so-called money. They're going to take back their property, what they think is their property, which is not their property. I'm leading back to the answer to what has been put out there, okay? But you got to do this in order to fulfill and understand what is going on, so that you can further see when the rest of this plays out. You can just sit back and look at this and say, oh, that's that, and that's that, and now it's your turn to do what you're supposed to do. So this is happening in order to take things back. One, the whole tax thing is bullshit. Number one, it is being reformed. People only heard those so-called people in the Congress saying this and that. Ain't nobody read the document. The document does not speak to what they told. Number one. Number two, some of them same folks, they are not authorized or have any authority, because 1871, if you're going by their thing, okay? 1871 and then before that. But the main thing is that they're taking it back. Then that so-called money or wealth gets distributed back to even within their picture of things, even within their law of things. We haven't even gotten to the Aboriginal Indigenous law and the thing with the Treaty of Kodesh and stuff like that, okay? But I'm even going well beyond that. I'm going back to the original of the original of the original. So we got to go back to all of those onions. Then you're not going to have to pay what you're going to have to pay. You ain't heard nothing about y'all and nothing up there except Mr. Tim Scott, who was up there for the signing of that document, okay? But that's okay, because they had to have an Aboriginal Indigenous person there, individual there, to solidify that, even from their thing, because it's plays within plays within plays. Then when you go to Markel, okay, it's from her mother's side. You are absolutely correct. This is for the writing of them, Rigthiing, okay, so that they could stand, the ones who did not go outside of their script and become totally dastardly and wicked and all like that. Some were only playing their part of their script, and everybody's script's important, and everybody is important, so that everybody's coming off of that one big stage. But then we have to go on further and see, see the light of the fact that, hey, when they give that back and they bring everything back this way, including those either going to get Mo and being wherever with their boots on the one leg or whatever, then and some of them are on ships. And the answer to the Sidney Poitier thing was long ships. That was one of the movies he played a Moor in. Okay. Look, long ships. So there's long ships out there that have USA on them, okay, but not the corporation. It's all coming back. So then you get to start hearing your name and your picture being put out there, that they have to acknowledge that they weren't the first ones who did anything for this so-called place over here. And then they have to go back, and this leads into your titles and everything of your program tonight, Rhonda. It has to go back to tell that this is Egypt, this is Kemet, and who were Kemet,
and
who was that, and why this, and why that, and who's the children of Israel. That's why he said, oh, no more Tel Aviv. We going to Jerusalem.
Sure
I put my shows on there, calls on this. It's about us, the children of the Most High, of the one source, of the all there is, no matter which color you're playing right now, but it still has to do with black and white for a little while. Then it has to do with your spiritual, the color of your heart, and all of that. So I'm just saying, we in for a wonderful dance and some good music.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Very, very, very well said, sis. I had even forgot about that whole him changing the capital. And just real quick, Brother Sean, you sent me something that blew my way back. You always sending me something, but you will know what I'm talking about because I wanted to talk about it tonight. And Sis Lioness brought up the perfect opportunity to talk about it. Remember when you sent me the video about the pyramids are not real, the pyramids are fake? Okay, so I looks at the little title, y'all, and I'm like, now what the hell is Brother Sean done dug up? Because he digs up some good ones. So I gets to looking at the video, y'all, and they're talking about the pyramids over in Giza. They're talking about a lot of those artifacts over, quote, quote, in Egypt. And they even touched on some stuff in Greece. And they proved through just showing the details of those structures, showing the different pictures. They went back in like the 1800s and like the 1930s and showed how the stuff was, when they were, quote, quote, being repaired, it really was they were being constructed. Okay, so first of all, as they were going through these different structures, most of those artifacts that they were reviewing, I have physically been to those places. So as they were talking about it, my mouth kind of dropped, specifically, not so much with the stuff in Egypt because it's so big and so overwhelming. I really wasn't up close really looking at it that deep. But the stuff in Greece, I was really, really side-eyeing a lot of that shit in Greece, y'all, because you literally can see where they just stack them columns on top of each other. And then those statues of the quote-quote goddesses, that shit look recent in the mug, y'all. I mean, real recent. Okay, now this is something I'm making up. I've been there, close up front, examining the stuff. So I'm saying all that to say, those of us that have done research, and I'm by no means have had the opportunity to do like years and years and years worth of research, like Sis Lioness and others have always said that Kemet was over here. The mound builders, the pyramid structures on this American or America's land are older than the stuff over in quote, quote, Egypt. So when Brother Sean sent me that video, I said, damn, there it is. So they built up that area with all of these artifacts to throw off the true history, the true story, and to throw off who the true people really are. So that kind of also ties into what Sis Lioness was just saying, and which also makes sense why a lot of the other prophecies always say that when the tribe of who rise, the tribe of Judah rise, the rest of the planet will rise as well. Okay, so I'm saying all that to say that it was coded with those words. That's why it's very important to pay close attention to the words, the etymology. Use your third eye, and this stuff will start to click. So that is what's really going on. You have this group of people who were held in bondage, stripped of their lineage / identity, stripped of their wealth, and as well as, more importantly, vibration, well, the vibration across the planet in general is lowered. All of that was hidden and suppressed. So now as the planet, Mama Earth, is rebuilding herself, and she is rising and coming back online, some of those same ancestors, which are including a lot of us, are also rising with her. And that's why all of this stuff, all of these rocks will be unturned. So I'll pause in case somebody want to put something on it, and then we'll keep moving. And if anybody want to put something on it, press *1 to get in the queue. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, Sister Cheryl, she inboxed me. She said Meghan Markle's ancestor was beheaded by King Henry VIII. There's definitely a plan with the marriage between her and that Prince Harry. Henry then took the land that belonged to her ancestors. Lord Hussey was the great-great-grandfather of Captain Christopher Hussey, who left London to become one of the founding fathers of Nantucket in the 1650s. Fast forward 10 generations, and we arrive at Thomas W. Markle, who married Dora Raglan, the parents of Rachel Meghan Markle, who was born in 1981. So it's a history. So she ties off to the royals, actually. So So that's them trying to just supplant her here, and them trying to reestablish some things.
Exactly.
But also, I'm looking at it from.
Wait till you finish.
From a esoteric standpoint of view, and them being energy vampires, they're trying to renew love of the royals, of the fake royals.
Yeah.
They're trying to get people to fall in love with them all over again and put your energy into that distraction instead of realizing who the true royals are. And that's taking it back to the black nobility and the fact that they knew that in order to take control of this land here, they had to go through the woman.
That's right.
You know, unfortunately, there's a lot of us who have royals back to like places like Raglan Castle in Wales. So she may be a little part of that program, but there's a lot more of us that have royalty that dates way back before her royalty. So they are trying to, they're trying to take it. That's true. And that's a sad thing that they are vampires, energy vampires, and they want to stay in power, but they can't do it. They won't do it.
No, they can't. And I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis.
Well, it's your thing. I have to defer to you. Go ahead. Let me in when you finish. Thank you.
Okay, just real quick. I was just going to say that even with I saw the game for what it was with that particular engagement, but I also knew that it does not matter because the vibration rate of the planet and the amount of people people that is needed to give Mama Earth the assistance to raise to a high vibration planet. All of these behind the scenes charters and agreement with this, that, and the third to trick the people in XYZ. We're not in that age no more. So it's not going to work anyway. So that's my last comment on that. Sis Lioness, you can go ahead.
Okay, so with everything that y'all have said is so. It's just, again, whenever you get to a point, find out if that's the end. Is there another offshoot to it? Is there something else that still doesn't make sense? So with that, Catherine, Cathead, even though some are in those kind of bodies, doesn't necessarily make them part of that so-called phony or semi-phony royalty. The Windsors are not royal.
Right.
Takes them out altogether.
Yep.
Red-haired boy is not a Windsor.
Right.
His mama, his father is not Charlie.
Sure
So
not. You know she dipped out on that one.
That's what they say.
But first I'm going to go with Kate Middleton. If you recall, Elizabeth had to give Kate Middleton back the sphere, S-P-H-E-R-E, and the spear, S-P-E-A-R, of destiny. Because her people, her so-called non-melanated side and her melanated side, because they didn't give you all of her before, but they did give. That's why her mama stays where she stays and didn't get as involved and stuff like that, okay, for Kate Middleton. That's also why Diana's mother became an alcoholic and all sorts of things, because she saw what was being done and she didn't want to be a part of it. And her lineage went back to Scotland, okay? The Ireland piece is us, E-Y-R-E equals black, chem equals Kemet. And then we go to Nova Scotia, but we also go to Scotia, Scotland, Europa, all melanated, beautiful, beautiful black feminine energy. So that's the truer part of this, okay? And what had to happen with Europa's father on the physical plane to facilitate all of this happening to get to now, to get to the most precious, highest being that has ever been able to formulate and to bring out this heart of hearts right now. So we're touching on all of the different bodies of us.
Right.
And that's immense, and each one of those are little onions within the onions within the onion within the onion. And it's massive. But little Merkel, her mama is so important, and you got to go back and do the offshoots of her family to get that what is being done. And remember, these are actors also.
Yes.
And when you read that bill, he so-called Trump, they only bring out the real Trump to sign the documents, okay? The other things are other ones that you are seeing to facilitate the rest of this play within the play within the play. But just know that it's so much stuff, but it's going to all unfold and be shown, and the light bulbs are going to go off within your brain of your head, the brain of your heart, and the brain of your gut. And then the love, it is the answer. It's all going to come out there. So things will come about. But it's the unfolding again. Back the way that things happen. Who took Scotland? Where's the money at? Where's this at? Got to go back to the Philippines too, okay? That's going to be told and all sorts of little things. Then they got to come back here, and they go here, and then they come back out. and then they go here and they come back out, because it'll all come as one. And just know it's a beautiful picture. Just stand back. Do as if you were learning how to drive. First, you had to hold that wheel, and you were so nervous because you could only see your tunnel vision right in front of you. Then, you became more knowledgeable, and you did some research on how to really drive, and you did some research on your geography of learning how to get back and forth to school or work or play, or, or your man or your woman or your this or your that or daycare and all of this stuff, right? So you learned a bigger space and place and a timing. So all of that's going to just unfold. But when you get the bigger picture, you just sit back and you say, oh, shit, look at this over here, look at that over there. And then it'll come more and more easily to you. But the fireworks didn't even begin yet. It's beautiful. So.
Yeah. It very well said, sis. And it's so much like you said, and it is an onion. You keep pulling back those layers. I know that I took some time out to watch this PBS series on Amazon. Y'all probably heard it, called Downton Abbey. And I usually don't like that British shit. It puts me to sleep. I started forcing myself to watch it because I'm looking for how they put shit out there in plain sight, if you know what you're looking for. So long story short, if you watch that particular series, it took place back in the 1800s, late 1800s all the way up to like the mid 1920s. So anyhow, once you look at like the particular artifacts in the home, I was cracking up because they literally had the Moor royalty statues placed in different places. And I'm like, yeah, I caught that shit. I see it. You ain't getting that past me. And even the structure of the way they structure their particular government structure, particularly the way they do estates. It's all about, they talk about estates and land and how the woman holds the wealth, and how it was a lot of those dudes that was marrying the women to get that wealth. Okay. And then particularly, they at one time had this open house to raise money for something. And anybody that's seen those castles over in Europe, you always see them with those old-ass paintings with, quote, quote, Caucasian people hanging on the goddamn wall that they're claiming is their lineage from this, that, and the third, and he was Duke this, Earl that, General this, that, and the third. So anyhow, people came through this tour, and the owners of the house could not tell the people who the hell that was hanging on them walls. And I kind of chuckled. I'm like, yeah, of course you couldn't, because y'all shit don't go back that far. You made it up.
Yeah.
You slapped that shit on the wall.
Yep.
You got the real royals, either paintings hidden in basements, or you painted over the shit. So
or acid out.
Sitting there hilarious, just cracking up. I'm sorry, go ahead on, sis.
I said, or acid it out. They whitewashed it all out.
Or that.
They couldn't change the hair, but they changed the faces, So
Absolutely.
They have it. Because that's the dark ages. That was the dark ages. That's when we ruled, and they took that out.
Exactly. And all you have to do is start questioning people. Back from that 1600, they get to stammering, and I just be sitting there, looking at my nails like somebody got hot at me. I mean, hot. A Caucasian got really, really mad at me because they was talking that shit out the side of their neck on what their ancestors owned on this land. And I made it easy for him. I said, well, who owned it before 1776? I said, I'm waiting. I'm still waiting. And I'm still waiting. So I'm saying all that to say, because it's really not about a black thing or white thing, because even with the melanated folks, it all started with us. It's all going to end with us, okay? It was the overthrowing of one set of melanated people on another, okay?
Right.
The Caucasians just came in and swooped up and picked up and set themselves in those roles because of the fighting that was going on, okay? But with all of that said, all of it will be unveiled. So not just the dirty shit that the Caucasians have done and hiding the history, even the dirty melanated ones, all of that has to be undone, and it's going to get deeper. We're going to get into that right now. It even goes deeper than the melanated on the melanated. The first war was man on woman. It was melanated man on melanated woman. Overthrowing for the seat of power.
Right.
Okay? So that's what we're going to get in. I'll pause in case somebody want to put something on it. And if not, we'll jump right in. Okay. So the year 2017, we need to break down the numbers on that. If you add up 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 7, you get the number 10. Okay, we've talked about the number 10 on this program several times. 10 represents omega, alpha and omega, beginning and ending. Okay, so 10 also is the underlying root for any operating computer. 1, 0. True, false. 10 also represents the Roman number X. Okay? So in the Roman numeral X is represented by 10. X meaning X chromosome. So later I'm going to, matter of fact, we probably need to get into the clips now because we're going to start to talk about how the woman herself being really the seat of creation because she was first, therefore she had to be the ruler, okay, and everything came from the woman. So we're going to get into a little biology to talk about that as well. So before I keep going, did anybody have anything they wanted to put in on it? We do have a call. Sorry about that. I have an anonymous. So sorry, beloved. So let me bring you on. This is anonymous 111. Greetings. Your line is open.
Greetings, sis. How you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm well. It's good to hear your voice. How are you, beloved?
I'm fine, and I'm so pleased that you recognize my voice.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you for being mindful of me. Now, I want to let you know this firstly. I was content on just listening. And you opened this bag. You're sending me here. I expected for you to come in.
I expected it. I already knew.
Okay, so I want to say this. I feel that the biggest injustice on this earth is the miseducation of the black woman. And why do I say that? When you said earlier, you said that the first wars, as it relates to territory, were between the black man and black woman. Now, that statement right there is the reason that world history is askew. If you want to understand the entire occult, hidden history, Freemasonry, Jesuit order. Where else can I go with this? Knights of Malta. Any and every illuminated, or whatever you all want to call it, Illuminati order. If you want to understand what the biggest secret is, it is the authentic heir and the wars against her, which is the black woman. So a lot of us, we don't want to hear this history, but I'm going to tell you this. I feel like this earth cannot be in harmony because they are keeping the black woman's true, authentic history at bay. Now, I'm going to say this, because I can go deep, but I'm not. But I'm going to say this. I want for the black woman to understand this one thing. She is a gazillion light years older than anyone else. I mean what I'm saying here now.
That's right.
Anyone, I'm talking about that black female, was on this earth by herself at least 36 million years before the Y chromosome.
That's right.
Was incorporated into the genome. So having said that, I want to give you guys a cue. You can look at the sun temples all around the globe. You need to understand that the ley lines were already laid before the Y chromosome comes into manifestation. So that lets me know this, that there were highly intelligent black women who knew how to conjugate the stars, the solar system, the lunar system. They had a very highly effective and intricate form of mathematics and language. We need to understand this, because if we understand that, then we understand why everything is so covered and so hidden. Know that. Black woman, you need to know that.
That's right.
So I just, this is I'm not trying to throw salt on the black man, but some of what we are suffering through now is as a result of him going against his life bringer, his light bringer, the black woman. The black man, he needs to, see, many black men, they already know this, but they feel like if they don't talk about it, it won't ever get out. That's what all these organizations are about. For example, one man's the last person's God is the new person's devil. So what I'm saying here, for example, I'll give you a prime example, is Pazuzu. Pazuzu was not a devil. It was a black feminine energy. So it is indicative of Kundalini energy, that solar fanic energy mixed with wind and current and everything that they harness. So I'm saying all of these old enemies, all of these old devils, Devo, Diva L, it's a solar, it's a lunar star system. Not Devo, it's Diva L. Okay, or Elohim. Those are the light bodies, that we pay attention to. So I'm saying, I said all that to say this. A lot of what we deal with, a lot of the history that is cloaked over, that you see, and you said people can't go beyond the 1600s. Well, that is because, let me tell you, I've read plenty of books about these religious modalities, and you will be surprised at the cultures that they said had no written history, but today they're saying they go back to 1 AD, 2 AD. It's all a lie. All of the religions that you see today are nothing but a interpolated knockoff, plagiarized version of the black woman's original knowledge and spiritual modality. And I'm going to yield the mic.
All right. That's Sis Sapphire, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I just want to give you your props because I was waiting on you. I knew you was coming in.
Thank you.
So I'm going to put you back on mute, but please come back in the queue and contribute because I'm about to play some videos. This first clip, they are going to get specifically in the science and it's called The Science of the Woman, and it's off the YouTube channel Natural to Hootie. And actually, Brother Aline Bay is in this one as well, and they getting ready to drop some heavy science about that XXXY and other things. So please come back and put something on it, sis. I appreciate you.
I will, my sister, and thank you so much for your time. And I want you all to remember, man is not indicative of gender. Man is the species. The only original man is the black woman. Okay, so I'm on my way.
All right.
And I'll be in the cut waiting for you.
Okay. All right, sis. Peace and love. Okay, so you'll realize why she said that that last statement. So this video is called The Science of Woman, and it's off the YouTube channel Natural to Hootie. It's about 15 minutes long. I guarantee you, though, you're going to be glued. So I should have been looking, but Sis Sapphire was dropping it, so I had to make sure. Here we go with my doggone videos. Yeah, I know it's there because I saw it. Sorry,
I
family.
think they're messing with us right out the gate.
Okay. Here we go. Let me make sure. Hidden truth. Yeah, it's the hidden truth of the black woman. Sorry, my bad, family. It's the hidden truth of the black woman off of Natural to Hootie. So, here we go. Thinking.
Oh, shit. Huh? You hear that? What? The House of Consciousness is coming back. Live in effect, family. Yes. The House of Consciousness brings to you Brother Aline Bay and Natural Tahuti, dealing with the most profound secret of the female. Why is it the most profound secret of the female? Tune in and you will see why the Negroes are up in arms. Peace and black power, family.
Yeah. So what's going on, man? The first question I have for you, Brother Aline, is do you agree with Brother Natural Tahuti? Who came first? Some people say it's not important. I say it is important.
Right.
You know, we got to get this information back. Who came first, the black man or the black woman?
The black woman. So I definitely agree with Brother Natural Tahuti. There's no doubt about it. The case is real simple. We have the XX chromosome. We have the X genetic material is missing from the Y, which would be an X. But because that leg is missing, that shows that there's something in which that is deficient or degenerative within that Y chromosome. So hence, it's not two X's like it is with the woman. Now, what is that leg made up of? It's called ribosome or ribonucleic acid. Well, the word ribosome, ribonucleic acid, the first part of that is the word rib, R-I-B.
What is ribonucleic acid? I want you to break all the science down.
Ribonucleic acid is RNA.
Okay.
RNA is the primary substance in which that transforms into DNA.
Now listen.
Okay, it transforms into DNA from RNA. All right, it's just like short-term memory, long-term memory.
Wow.
DNA symbolizes long-term memory. RNA symbolizes short-term memory. So the experiences which that you go through, the RNA takes in those messages and those communications, and then it's transferred to your ancestral data bank, which is your DNA. Okay, so that particular leg becomes non-coded amino acids. That's what it also is made up of. Now that means that there's particular genetic material in which that is not activated within the male. We still have it, but it's not activated as it is within the woman. It's dormant. All right. Now what scientists are now finding out is that we can still tap into the non-coded DNA, and that there is some type of activity, but it's not to the extent of the XX chromosome, which is within the woman, in which that gives her the ability in order to have children, her uterus being able to grow larger as the child develops within her womb, as well as also her cervix area being able to open wide enough in order to allow the child to come out. You know what I'm saying? our womb is our prostate gland. If that prostate gland blows up,
that's right,
or becomes enlarged, guess what happens? We can't tinkle. We can't pee.
That's right.
We have problems doing that. And then they'll tell you that, well, you have inflammation or possibly even cancer of the prostate gland. So our prostate gland can't afford to become enlarged. So we find out is that if you examine a woman and the male, the clitoris is the phallus or the penis. You know what I'm saying? Except the men have the elongated clitoris, which is the penis. The testes is nothing more than fallen ovaries. As we know, the ovaries exist within the male inside of him for at least a few weeks before they even descend. The doctors will tell you that the testes or the testicles have to descend within the baby, within the male child, within the male baby. So that means that they are in the same place as what? The ovaries inside the body. Okay? And then they have to descend. That's what is called the fall of man.
Right.
That's the fall of man.
Absolutely.
That's why it's called the Old Testament.
Right.
The Old Testament. That's testicles. Right. Testimony. Matter of fact, in court, before they even had the Bible, you had to swear, you had to put your hand,
right,
your left hand on your testicles and your right hand up in order to swear and testify that everything that you state is true, and you're doing it on your family jewels.
That's right.
You're doing it on your family lineage.
Wow.
You're doing it on your tree of life.
Absolutely.
Because that is what is produced. Okay? So the fallopian tubes is the vas deferens. The clitoris is the phallus or the penis. The vulval lips is nothing more than the sewn up area portion in which that stretches all the way from the base of the man's phallus all the way down to the scrotum sac, all the way to his anus area.
Right.
That was once the opening. The perineum actually was the opening of the vagina, except is now sealed, or what is called, is actually look like somebody sewed this shit up.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can just take your whole finger and just run down the whole line all the way to your for the brothers, from the base of your penis all the way down your scrotum sac, all the way to your anus, and you would feel a line.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? As if somebody sewn it up. Scientists would tell you that for 6 months, for 6 weeks, within the womb, there is no difference between the male and the female child. The male child is feminine. Until after 6 weeks, testosterone kicks in, based on the woman, based on the disposition of the woman, based on the stress and the emotional state of the woman. Testosterone kicks in which that turns that child into a male child. All right, but for 6 weeks within the womb, they can't distinguish between if it's a male child and if it's a female child, and any doctor would tell you that. That's the reason why they tell you, no, we can't check it out until about a month and a half. You know what I'm saying? And then we can see what is the birth of the so-called nature of the child is. That's why they have to use ultrasounds and all those things, but they can't use it before the 6 weeks.
Right.
Okay, so in the science that you have just dropped, you just have knocked out the Bible term of the woman coming from man's rib.
No, check this out.
Yes.
The woman did come from the rib because it's the ribosome. She has it. We don't. That is that missing link. That 2.8%.
I don't understand it.
Now check this out.
Yeah.
The woman body is made from atoms.
Oh,
so
okay.
Hence, she is an atomite. So she came from Adam because her body is made and composed of what? Atoms.
Now let's clear it up for the viewer.
The word atoma.
When you say
blood.
When you say Adam, you ain't talking about man.
No, we're not talking about man. We're talking about atom, which means blood.
All right.
All right? The oldest blood on the planet is O negative. It dates back over 300,000 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You can get the book called Eat Right for the 4 Basic Blood Types. In the book, O means original blood. And he would tell you that also, if you do research and a study, scientists will now tell you that women existed on planet Earth for 150,000 years before the male species.
That's powerful. Let me add on to that.
Hold on. Before you add on to that, because I'm going to come to you. I'm going to ask you a question.
Sure.
And matter of fact, I'm going to ask you the question now. But do you want to add on to that before we take it to somebody else?
I just want to add on real quick.
Go ahead.
That's very powerful, and I'm glad we're sitting now having this topic because it's sharpening me up because the spin that you just put on it, I didn't hear it that way particularly yet. and I have tons of documentation to prove that the female came first. There is but one sex, and that is the female. And to even go into something like Dr. York talked about with the nine ether, the woman or the universe actually comes from out of that nine ether. Now let me make you understand what I'm talking about. When you break down the word feminine, you have the word femi and you have the number 9 in it. It's femi 9. So that 9 is the symbol of pregnancy. Or not only pregnancy, it is the original DNA, that helix. Because all life moves in a circular motion. So she is the original spiritual being. Because in the root of the word spiritual, you have the word spiral. You see what I'm saying? So and then even in mathematics, when I was a part of the Nation of Gods and Earth, we said that the number 9 is born. And so when you also go into the book Metal Netter by Raju Nefer Amen, he says that the number 9 is the number of sex, which is Aset. And so there you have it. She is the feminine, meaning that she is circular. The man is linear because he's masculine. And when you break down the word masculine, you have masculine and you have line. You see? And then now when we go into the problem book of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had this to say about it. And this goes into reference to all the brothers that are saying, well, the male is the active principle. What you're not understanding about the woman's number being 9, that is, she is complete. So she's more than just the number 2. She's the number 0. The 0 is the undifferentiated creation. Before the creation, there's the 0. Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that the 1 came from the 0. The 1 is masculine. Again, the 1 is linear. The woman is feminine. So she is circular. So the 0 is the hidden portion of Amen. You understand? That's why Het Haru is called the Eye of Amen, or the Eye of Ra. You understand what I'm saying?
What have motivated you to get on this path, to get on this train, and take this train down the road? What have motivated you to do this, brother?
Well, actually,
with this type of teaching,
I'll tell you, after the debate with Wesley Muhammad, because I was pretty much on the right path, didn't know it at the time when I was talking about the Islamic thing. But what actually happened when we was going through all of that beefing with the BPC and all that, it really got to me.
Yeah.
And you remember we was on the radio show, and I said, you know what? I don't want this to be a part of my aura.
It threw you off your path.
It threw everything,
all of us,
my whole life. My job, I lost my job, my relationship at home, everything was going whack. I backed up and I got back into the laboratory. And I'm going to tell you, I don't actually know what actually motivated me, but there is some type of spiritual force in my life that motivated me to the teaching that the black woman was God. And once I started getting into it, I just knew it automatically. I was like, oh, wow, this is the hidden knowledge.
And you've been taught for 30 years that the black man is God.
That the black man is God.
Right.
And I was so easy with the information. It didn't go to my ego as far as me being a man, you know what I'm saying, to say that the woman is God. It didn't go there. So I'm just so very easy with the information. And so I have to really say that, you know, the ancestors is leading me down a particular path. And I'm just really happy to be a representative of the Great Mother. And since I've been on this path of bringing the information of the Great Mother, you know, like the scriptures say, you're going to be tried.
That's right.
You're going to be prosecuted and persecuted.
That's right.
But I'm going to stand strong because I am 1001% sure that the only God is the Great Mother. The man can only be a God unless he goes back through the womb and be born again.
Woo!
What do I mean by that?
Yes, break it down.
When the brother was in the lecture and he was dealing with the sacred sex, the only way to rise that kundalini upon the spine is through the sex of the woman. She is the fan that fans the fire, Mother Devi. You understand what I'm saying? Without the sublimation of the woman's force, that Kundalini will not rise up that spinal column. The only thing that can take place through meditation is sublimations of the energy. Even through pranayama, only sublimations of the energy rises, which is like mist. It's like a mist that rises. But the actual Kundalini, which is curled up, what they call Brahman's knot, will not rise up that spinal column unless it is through the woman. And so it is through the great mother that man becomes God. And this is the little known secret why the gods of ancient Egypt wore skirts.
Powerful, brother.
And I won't get too much into that.
So we already know, Dr. Ben even says that heaven is between the legs of the black woman. So if that's where heaven is at, we come from heaven.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying? So she got to be the God's force on the planet. Am I right?
You're right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Hold on. All this information right here, my brother, is not new. What happened is it got swept up under the rug when Dr. York was captured by the beast.
That's
now,
right.
why we don't give credit to where credit is due? Dr. York been teaching this for eons, for years, brother. Why, Brother Eileen, why do you think we don't give that credit back to the master teacher? Because I don't give a damn about what they say he did. Right. When you look at that man and study his work, he was a master teacher.
No doubt about it.
Why we don't give credit to that, brother?
Because number one,
before you go on, even everybody that's teaching today,
right.
I don't even need to name the names. They using some of his stuff, of course. You know what I'm saying? Why we ain't giving that credit to him?
I don't know, because I do whenever I can. You know
right.
what I'm saying? Because I was once a student of his from 87 to 94. Wow. I was up under Dr. York, up under the Nubian Islamic Hebrews, or what is known at that time as the Ansarullah Nubian Islamic Hebrews community.
Okay, family. So, again, they was heavy hitting in that. That video is called The Hidden Truth of the Black Woman by YouTube channel Natural Tahuti, and the brothers that was spitting the knowledge was Brother Aline Bay, and then actually Natural Tahuti. They were the two brothers dropping the knowledge. So anybody want to put anything on it before we go into part two? Because y'all, that was so, when I came across that, y'all, I was like, oh, they really dropping it. So, but
yeah,
I'll give everybody opportunity to put something on it.
You know what? I want to say that. So Harry Mabiff is not the secret. It must be Harrietta Mabiff that the Masons need to take a look at as far as the secret is concerned.
The Masons know, because Masons is mother's son.
They say it's Harry Mabiff, you know, but it's Harrietta Mabiff. They got the name wrong. Because the woman is the secret. Now, I'm going to get off on a little bit of science and this transgender stuff. And when a man wants to... Huh?
They're going to go into that.
Oh, okay. They're going to go into that. You want me to shut up then?
No, you can put something on it. I'm just letting you know that he's going to touch on that. And I was like, they really bringing it.
Because when they change a man to a female, they go right at that penis and fold it back. And now they got, other things they do to you to make you into the female energy. But they also have a drug that they're using. Well, not a drug, a spray. They're using on the marijuana that people need to be careful with, because I can't remember the name of it, but it has the ability to turn a male frog into a female frog. So that male frog can have babies. And so they're starting to really change the human identity to the female principle. So I just wanted to add that. And everybody's dying to get their hands on that marijuana, but one of the pesticides they used on that was brought out by one of the not Moors, but Muslim brothers in one of his speeches. You have to be careful of the pesticides they're using on the food, because they are really changing the sex nature of mankind.
Yeah, and they're going to go into it in the video about transgenderism and homosexuality. I don't think they brought up transgenderism, but they're going to bring up homosexuality. But I know I've discussed several times on this show that the reason why the spiritual aspect of homosexuality and transgenderism, it goes deeper beyond people thinking it's about depopulation. It's and they're going to go into it. I'm not going to say it because I've said it 1,000 times. They are going to say what I've been saying for quite some time. And this particular clip that I'm sharing with you, I think they dropped this back in 2011. So they were saying it way before I was even saying it. So they're going to go into it. I do want to say I'm going to play the next part 2 to this. It's going to be about 15 minutes. We're going to get ready to go into overtime. I don't know how we going into overtime so early. I must have clicked the wrong button. So anyhow, if you're in the chat, if you want to continue with us, I see a couple of you in the chat. You got 15 minutes to dial in to 929-477-3858, 929-477-3858. We're going into overtime in 15 minutes. Does somebody else have something to put on it before I go into part 2 on the hidden truth of the black woman? Okay.
We'll go off into part 2.
Okay. All right. Here go part 2, family.
Knowledge in 1979. Then when I went to the penitentiary, I got introduced to the esoteric information. And so I got introduced to Hilton Hotima, which was a pseudonym of his. His real name is George R. Clemens. The reason he changed his name different times is because he was trying to evade being murdered. You understand?
He's a European?
I think he's Indian, or he's a mixture of both. European and Indian, but the brother was dropping.
He lived to be 98.
Yeah, he lived to be 98. He was dropping, and I came in tune with the information from a debate that he did. The great debate was called in the book called Virgin Birth. That's where I first learned about parthenogenesis, but it took many years, like right now, like maybe several months ago, when I really began to understand what I had read years ago, and I didn't really know that Dr. York was dropping that science until recently, because somebody accused me of quoting Dr. York's information, and I tell you, I do got some of his information, like where I learned about the feminine. I learned that from Dr. York. You understand what I'm saying, you? And I also learned from Dr. York that the X chromosome was the Y chromosome was a degenerate. You see
now you're getting a lot of slack because of that. You came out and said that the man is a degenerate from the female.
Right.
You're getting a lot of slack behind that, Tahuti.
Yeah. And see, it's very true. But it's true. And what's happening, he just explained it, the very early stages of conception. All embryos or fetuses are female.
Right.
What happens is, once that Y factor takes over, or whenever the degeneracy takes place, those testicles, and I'm going to show when we come to the lecture, I have an outlook, I have the whole anatomy, how the ovaries are herniated, and they fall down into what is called the labia, the lips of the woman. Now, in the Latin language, it's called prostatica ventricle. The prostatica ventricle is the actual womb inside of a man, or you can call it prostatica vagina, or excuse me, vagina masculinus.
You know what, brother? I'm going to have to say this on tape, man. I'm actually proud of you, Tahuti, man, because I see the difference in you from a few months ago. I could tell you've been studying, brother. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
You hit me with all kinds of shit, like, I'm like, damn.
And now, what's
I'm
really
proud of you, brother. for doing what you're doing.
Thank you, brother. What's really strange and what brothers don't realize, see, the woman, going back to Dr. York, dealing with that number 9, and I understand it from Supreme Mathematics, 9 we always was taught that was complete. And so the woman is complete. She's a complete being. You see what I'm saying? It is a total lie that they have the same chromosomes. The woman has to have more chromosomes. She makes up the child. She's the creator. So how could a man and a woman have the same amount of chromosomes?
Well, we're going to get scientific in a minute. Now here's the question I want to have for you, and then I know Eileen is going to go deeper into it, because before, me and this brother did a DVD about 5 or 6 years ago called The Anatomy of Man. Remember that? Right. The Anatomy of Man. Big Man said, what's up, too? I got to tell you that.
Right, no doubt.
The Anatomy of Man. So, brother, for the viewers out there, let me say this on my brother Natural Tahuti's behalf. He is not trying to teach a homosexual agenda when the brother talks about there was a time when man can lactate milk. That's not what he's trying to tell y'all, to go out there and breastfeed the baby. Y'all getting it confused. That's not what Tahuti is telling you. He is telling you, brothers and sisters, that in need situations, under circumstances, if it had to come to a time where you had to feed your baby and the woman was no longer around, the man could take on that type of, we're going to let you, we'll say it again?
That type of nutrient.
Nutrient. Right. All right, Brother Tahuti, go deep into it, man.
Well,
because people accuse you of a homosexual agenda when you talk about that.
What it really is what we have to understand, this is reactionary from people who have been knocked upside the head and put to sleep for over the past 500 years. We are
what is the purpose of you teaching this teaching right here?
Well, basically, I came out talking about male lactating milk for shock therapy. Basically, that was for the shock therapy. I knew they was going to jump on me.
Right.
But what I had to do was challenge the ego so that the ego could show its ugly face. So when we bring that science and show them that the black woman is God, it'll knock them back down and humble itself. Because the man is bent on so much of this ego testosterone. That's why we got all this war on the planet. You see what I'm saying? And that's why in this changing of the paradigm shift, ISIS is back on her throne. As a matter of fact, in the book Fetish to Gods, and I'm not exactly sure what page, but I will get the citation for you, Set says when she returns, because they put her in prison for a period of 20,000 or so many thousand years, and she said when she returns, she is going to destroy all of those that lied in her namesake. Because the gods that went to war with the mother took on all of her attributes. And then you had these degenerates, these Europeans, who actually went around the planet murdering women, vilifying the woman, calling her a witch, which is just a trickery of words, because witch is just the mother's wit.
So are you trying, and let it be known here, are you trying to teach the young thugs out there that they should go home and breastfeed?
No, I'm not actually teaching that they should go home and breastfeed.
Right.
I'm just trying to show you that the physical anatomy of the man comes from the woman. This is evidence that she is the primary. You understand what I'm saying? The evidence that the woman is the primary is because they actually got men on the planet right now that lactate milk out of their chest and that are actually breastfeeding.
Show and prove.
Well, all men have mammary glands, and there is a so-called degeneracy called there is an actual degeneracy where there are men, babies. Matter of fact, some newborn babies have milk running out of their chest, the boys. And during the age of puberty, it is mostly developed where you can actually see boys lactating milk out of their chest. Now,
you said that they're doing this right now in another part of the world.
Well, one of the most famous cases is the brother from out of Sri Lanka.
Tell them where they can go and dig up the research.
Well, you can dig that research up on. If you go online, you can put in the words milkmen. If you Google milkmen, you'll actually go online and you can see the brother whose wife died. And he didn't know what to do with his child. The child rejected the powdered milk. And he actually started putting the baby up to his chest, and from the suction of the baby, the man began to lactate. Now, there's
milkmen or milkman?
Milkmen. Now, there's also a tribe of original people who are misnomerly called pygmies, from a particular group of so-called pygmies called the Aka. The Aka have been dubbed by National Geographic and others as the world's greatest dads. They have their children 43 to 53% of the time, more with the man than he is with the woman. And when the women go out to do the hunting, the men are at home and they take care of the child, and if the child cries, they will put the children up to their breasts. What we have to understand about the Twa had the most just society because it was based upon the mother principle, which is actually the equality of male and feminine principles. You see, so, and that's what I was talking about before when I talked about we must return to the African mother principle, and how we do that is by observing civilizations or tribes such as the Twa, where the duties of everyone is equally distributed, and everyone in the society had an equal voice. No one was higher than the other. And this is how our ancestors, matter of fact, the Kushites, they mocked the Twa. The Kemites, they mocked the Twa. And it goes all the way down to the Moors and so forth and so on. And it is true. It's a fact. The Moors were the custodians of the knowledge that when the Kemites were being persecuted and prosecuted, it was the Moors that took the knowledge and spread it across the world. That's how they built Spain. And so, man, this knowledge, the thing is that the knowledge has, the Europeans went on a crusade across the whole entire planet trying to destroy this information. And the information is now rising up. It's coming back. We're in a new paradigm now. We're in that 2012 cycle right now. And in that 2012 cycle, man, what you're going to see a lot more homosexuality. You're going to see a lot of that because not only is the European trying to get peoples to be homosexuals, but what's really happening in the metaphysical plane is that the memory, brothers, see what's happening is that the memory is lost. The memory is kind of lost. And what you have is the confusion from those that are vibrating on a lower density. They are confusing themselves with the Great Mother. They are confusing themselves with that principle from which they came from. And that's why you see some of the degeneracy as homosexuality. It's not that it's and I don't want nobody to beat me up on this. You understand what I'm saying? But I just have to be brave enough to give you the truth.
And that's the truth.
You know? It is.
All right. That's powerful, brother. That's powerful. Okay, brother Eileen, would you like to elaborate on that right there as far as the black man or man having the ability to lactate milk?
Well, number one, just understand what the word man means. The word man simply means think. That's all it means. Man it has nothing to do with gender. It has to do with the mind. You know what I'm saying? So actually when we say man, we're talking about a thinker. We're talking about he who thinks. So we're not talking about per se a gender, you know what I'm saying, but an individual that can actually think and put things into motion to make things manifest. So we know that everything begins with the mind. The all is mind and everything is mental, you know. So your mind is said to have abilities and control over the matter. Matter of fact, that's what we teach in metaphysics, that mind over matter. So your physical body is composed of matter. It's a mass of energy. So if the mind has the ability in order to transform mass into energy, energy back into mass, as they say, E equal MC squared, which is supposed to be the relativity theory of Einstein. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we already knew that in ancient Africa. But the thing is this, is that man has the ability in order to manifest what is necessary and to adapt, to overcome at any time, at any given time. I mean, how we think that we've been on this planet for millions and billions of years, because we've been able to adapt, and when times, situations, based on disasters, based on stressful situations, based on environmental changes, we can actually adapt and actually begin to do what needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? That's man or woman. You know what I'm saying? But in particular, yes, man has the ability in order to lactate when it's necessary. And now it's called a dis-ease. However, that dis-ease would be necessary if the woman, you know what I'm saying, was not in the picture. Or if because of war, the man would have to step up to the plate and provide for that child. You know what I'm saying? So it would become necessary for the man to be able to do that. Especially there's no grocery stores and those types of things. I mean, yeah, you would have to adapt. And that's man always been able to do that. We always been able to adapt.
Okay, Brother Ali, let's get deeper into some science. How was we created? How was we formed? Go into the details. Like, you always hear the people say that we are part of the earth. Everything that's in the earth is a part of us.
Sure.
Go into that. How was we formed? How was we created?
Well, the fall of man just don't deal with just the testicles. It also deal with the fact of how we fell into flesh.
No, I said, how was we created?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
He's going there.
How we fell into the flesh. We fell from an Ethereal state.
Yes, sir.
All right, which is a mental state. The mind makes everything into what appears to be a reality. So that means that all is mind and the universe is mental. So a portion of the universe itself symbolizes the mind. As the mind begins to become more condensed, in other words, like this, thought travels at 24 billion miles per second.
Okay, family. So once again, those brothers were really dropping a lot of science and good stuff in that video. It's called The Hidden Truth of the Black Woman, and that is off of the YouTube channel Natural Tahuti. And the brothers that was chopping it up was Brother Aline Bay and Brother Natural Tahuti. So I'll pause in case somebody want to put something on it. I know it was a lot, but they really went in.
Okay, looking at the image that has been portrayed of Christ, this Borgia character, feminine-looking chap. I mean, in subtle ways, they're letting you know that everything is about the divine feminine energy, because it's with them all about the Christ energy. It's all about Christ, but they're not telling what that really is. They're trying to make it into an individual. But as they bring out today and trying to justify homosexuality through the Bible, and that it was okay. And, I mean, it all ties in, but
absolutely,
it's a perverted view of the divine feminine.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead on, brother.
And it's also about the fall into the physical. I mean, that's where the first war between man and woman began, when the feminine energy decided to split itself for the experience. And all sight was lost to that. And somewhere along the line, some aspects of the divine feminine energy was corrupted because she is turned on herself. I mean, if we look at it from a physical and a spiritual aspect, everything on the earth, this 3D realm, is going to stay here unless it's able to vibrate at a higher frequency. Mother actually doesn't need us to restore her because the physical mother feeds off us. These bodies return back to the dust, or other things eat us, which stay here. So all energy that belongs here stays here. It's from the spiritual aspect that we're able to rise and go to the new earth. So, I mean, it's battles within battles. All those layers that have to be peeled back. And as they say with Christ, that he's supposed to be returning with the sword of vengeance. The divine feminine energy is returning with chaos. That's why all these events have to play out. You know, people looking at these events as things aren't going to be restored. But the old ways, the new old ways, have to be destroyed. Destruction is a part of creation.
Yes.
So she has to return with that chaos energy. And whatever twists and turns that so-called man or mankind go through is all necessary. It has to happen that way. Because these are the situations that we created. And in the unfolding of them, it all has to be lived.
Right. Wow. You said a mouthful there, but what really stood out, it kind of really made me pause when you said that the first war was in the ethers, the actual split. So when the divine feminine split herself into the two parts of the concept of XX and XY. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. The other aspect when you were you touched on the homosexuality, you know, hopefully everyone can clearly see, because they even brought it up in that particular video the brothers were speaking on. You know, they put it in the light that it is the male energy remembering or coming into remembrance of the Great Mother. And I would always put it in the aspect of it is that divine feminine energy hitting the plane, okay? And some folks don't know how to process that energy, okay? So they take on the dominant energy or trait, we know that now, which is the feminine energy. And even some of the women get confused of that divine energy coming back as the dominant energy, and they kind of do the opposite and take on some of the quote male characteristics. So I found that interesting too, that back in 2011, I think that video that those brothers were chopping it up was back in 2011. They talked about it, the homosexuality and transgenderism. You really see them pushing it now. Folks that are adopting that, yeah, some of it is manipulation by media and folks that think they're controlling things, but a lot of it too has a spiritual component to it. And I'm seeing the transgenderism, so meaning going from man to woman, or going from woman to man, but specifically they've been pushing a lot going from man to woman. They're really gearing that up. And, on some fronts, I feel that it is trying to, once again, confuse identities and muddy the waters a little bit to kind of take place of the woman. And then on the other hand, from a spiritual aspect, it still could be the not being able to handle the woman's dominant energy coming back into play. So now the other thing I wanted to point out that the brothers did in the video when they talked about that the hidden secret of the true knowledge is the power of the woman, her being the seat of creation. And I posted this on Facebook, but some of you may not have seen it. I recently went to see the new Thor movie called Thor Ragnarok. I think that's how you pronounce that. So anyhow, I didn't go into it expecting to see this put in my face in plain sight. I always go to all of the particular superhero movies because they throw a lot of metaphysics stuff in there. They throw a lot of prophecy stuff. So sure enough, it did not let me down from that perspective. And it was a decent movie. I enjoyed it, but the metaphysics part of the entire movie, I was sitting there like, wow. So the main theme of this, and this is a spoiler alert, so if you haven't seen it, go on and wash you some dishes, do whatever, you don't want it to be spoiled. But the whole theme of the movie literally was about Thor's older sister who really set up her father's throne. She had the kick-ass power, okay? Her father, which is, Thor's father, they literally hid this entire history of these women warriors, okay? And they even had a scene in the movie when she came back and went to the particular palace, and they had on one of the walls, they had the father and the sons all standing there as rulers. She tore that shit, hit it, and it was like some plaster or whatever, and behind it you saw where she and her women warriors were the ones that built that kingdom, okay? So she was pissed. She was very pissed. So the whole movie was about her coming back, okay? This feminine divine energy coming back in chaos to uncover the hidden history of the woman, okay? So, of course, in the movie, they made her out to be the power-hungry, conquering, even the murderer, okay? Which, to me, as I notated in this post, it really sounds like the society that was created without the woman ruling, going across the planet, conquering nations and murdering, okay? We don't have that documented where women did that, okay? But nonetheless, in this movie, they chose to portray that's why she got thrown out of power, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, and now the interesting part, when she was coming back, kicking ass and taking names and giving the true story, she was pissed with her father because he went behind her back, making treaties with the enemy. Okay, and all of those particular kingdoms that he made treaties with were other men, and they all agreed to sweep the history of the women warriors under the rug. Okay, so the thing that I was like almost jumping out my seat, like, oh hell no, they didn't, you just gonna put it out there like that. She said that they suppressed her. The men suppressed her because she was going beyond the 7 realms.
Yes.
And I sat in that theater like, I can't believe I'm hearing that. Literally, that is why she was overthrown from power, because she wanted to go beyond the 7 realms. Okay. Yeah. This lioness, I was like, oh my God. I had to pull it together so I wouldn't disturb nobody in the movie. Okay. I found it all metaphysical, telling the story of what happened with the woman having the seat of power on this planet. The physical part of the aspect we've talked about a lot throughout the show tonight was tricking out of the wealth, out of the land, and they did it with these goddamn treaties and through marriage, etc., etc. That's the physical part of power and seats of power that went on in the wars. The spiritual power, it appears, now we will soon know this, that a battle was going on between these energies to stop from going beyond the 7th heaven or the 7th realm. Because remember, the woman has it already in her DNA to go beyond the 7 realms, and men have it too, but it is much easier, much natural for the woman because she's the alpha and the omega. Okay, so could that be the spiritual battle that is going on today as well? It's down to that duality energy breaking through beyond the 7th realm. Maybe so.
Yes.
Go ahead on, Sis Lioness. Go ahead on and put something on it.
Yes. So I'm holding back for reasons, but the answer is absolutely yes. And it's playing out in many different ways, again, because of the onion. And now we went to the outside. We are all, no matter who you are going into the inside. Some just don't like what they see inside of them and don't want to reach out to that adjacent wonderfulness that is still in there. There's still love in every single element of every single individual or being, because that has to do with that as well. The feminine energy is in many things, beings, entities, species, but there's other words for it. I'm just not sure that people can handle that piece right now. It is ready to all come out in every way, shape, and form. I want to give a shout out to Brother Aleem and to Hootie and Panic and all of them, because I can tell you, having been there with them, they have progressed, because all of them, every last one of them, was not spouting the same information with true sincerity, with the feeling of being that which they were speaking, that telling about the feminine energy and the woman, okay? They have grown a great deal, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. We have helped them to get there, and it is because, I can say this, especially for Brother Aleem, it's because of the women that have been in his life since he ventured out on his own, still connected to many things, and his daughter, okay? His daughter. Really. And panic has to do with a lot of things, and all of us, each of us females, okay? It goes beyond that. That's why I love when you brought that beyond piece out. It was this Star Trek. More than you know, this is Star Trek, and it's wonderful. It is about all of the gems of the ocean, and you have to understand what ocean means. Diamonds and pearls and silver and gold and the emerald and the sapphire and the ruby. It is about the segments of the world, of the great mother, and all of her attributes, all her names, all of her manifestations, because she is the Christ consciousness of which everyone can go to attain. She has gone the furthest. And when she split, and thank you, Sean, for
Brother
that.
Sean.
Because that is the crux of the problem, okay? It's a problem and it's not a problem, or it was done so that all of this could come together right now. When the two become one, a gain. It's all about a gain, because if you're original, it all of anything happening has to be a repeat performance or an again connectivity, making that recircle, okay? And yes, we are circular, not linear people. The thing is, when we gave birth to that first male, it was deformed, but it was still a perfectly created entity, being manifestation. Later on, as things went on, I mean, there's much more to the story, okay? And all of the stories are within this story. It's about chaos and order being right up against each other, and to form a most perfect union now, going through all of the realms. It is in, get a book, you could still get this book, The Goddess Sekhmet, Sekhmet, The Way of the Five Bodies. That's why in my introduction I say the oneness in and of and for everyone and everything and everybody and all of your bodies, every last one of them. This is by Robert Masters, okay? I mean, there's many. There's The Heart of the Sun. It's about the exaltation of Sekhmet. It's Hathor, it's Heharu, it's all of those who are the manifestations of the Great Mother, and that feminine energy that split. And you must learn about the Mushaba people also, okay? That energy split so that love could grow, everything could experience, and the growth would bring about the return to bring this all together. Along the lines of all of this taking place, yes, some things, because as you grow, sometimes you grow into having thoughts that are both so-called positive and so-called negative. So, yes, all of these different things took place. It's all for the good, because it's all going to come back together. Now, those who don't want to relinquish the script of just playing and acting inappropriate behavior, because it's all behavior, then they get to go to another earth. But they're not staying on this one, because this one is the mothership of the finest of the finest. And we are going on to other ventures that have never been tapped before, based upon love and love and love. So with that, there's so much to convey. But I thank you for even putting this out there so that people can hear it, so that some of their other DNA and RNA, they have messengers within the RNA, so that now they are set, they are ready to go boom, boom, boom within everybody. And if you're arrogant, then it's going to help to make you smooth and fluid, if you so want to. If you so want to. If you don't get to go the rest of this way to the 12th dimension. Okay.
Yep.
And beyond. And beyond.
That's right.
But it
and
exists.
Beyond.
All of this stuff exists, and I'll leave it at that for now.
All right, Sis Linus. I think Sis Sapphire got back in the queue. I think you did, Sis. I'm hoping you did. So I'm going to open up your line. 111. Greetings.
Greetings. It's me again, my sister.
Okay, great.
Let me say this. You all are just a little too deep for me. I'm just going to keep it real. I'm a lady at the root of the tree. Okay? The sister that just got through speaking, I mean, just, I don't even have words. I don't even have words. Just powerful. I want to speak to Sean, and I'm going to be as briefly as I can. Sean, you are deep. I heard what you were saying, and I wonder if the listeners know just how powerful that statement that you made about Christ and what was hidden in that message. When we talk about Christ, and I'm going to be quick here, the brother said that you could tell that they were masking something within that entity or within that, what is the word I'm looking for? Within that verbiage. And here's what I want to say. Here's how I was able to begin to come into the knowledge. I was on a platform with some brothers, and I've been reading for a very long time. I would just read anything. And the brothers were talking about Ani, A-N-I, a male Kemetic deity. And I said, hey, wait a minute. You just said that the original spiritual modalities came from the South. I said, now, if that's true, the South African, or what they are calling the Pygmy or the Twa, and the Nigerians, the Igbo, all of them say that Ani is the female mother of light, sunlight. I said, so how are you attributing that to that? Then I said, I'm going to tell you what I think, my brother. The word Christ is an energy. It's a solar phatic energy. So when we say Christianity, they're saying Christ, Ani, risen, talking about Ma Ray, the mother son. Now, they cursed me out and hung up on me, but it caused me to read even deeper. And so what he was saying is that we need to understand the agency of Christ. It's not an individual. It is a process. You understand what I'm saying? It's a process. And so here is where the mystery surrounds the Trinity. If we understand and we accept the fact that the black woman is older than anyone else, how was she reproducing herself? Parthenogenically, of course, through Kundalini energy, caressed energy, caress Ani. This is where Christianity comes from. See, they're talking about the sun, S-U-N, and that solar energy that comes from it that can cause what? That can cause the sister process to take place within the uterus of the black woman. I'm going to say many months ago, I called in and I said that the Kabbalah spear was the map for parthenogenic rebirth.
Yes,
you mentioned about the Thor movie. And because I'm not used to keeping up with you deep folks, I usually speak slow. And so I want to explain what I meant when I said that. When you said that the female in the movie said that she was ready to transcend 7 spears. What she was talking about was the spear of the Kabbalah. It is explaining to you when the energy is intense. That includes Sirius, Venus, Mars. When you map out the spears of the Kabbalah, those are planets. Okay? And then when you get to the Bina, when you get to the very last initiation, that's the womb of the black woman. They're talking about how she reproduced herself parthenogenically. That is what Christ is all about. And so the original black woman always gave birth to the 2 eggs that were in her fallopian tubes. Thus you have the mother and the twin daughters. That's the original Trinity. The 2 that come after the 1, that is what Aleister Crowley is talking about. That he said that this is the deepest secret. Helena Blavatsky said when people understand what the 2 after the 1 is, they're talking about Mama, the black woman, and her 2 black daughters. So I just want to say, and he said this. He said that the problem the black woman has is she's gone against herself. That man is so deep. If we understand what he said to us, that statement he made to us is healing. Because if you understand what he was saying that, woman, you need to get back to your original spiritual modality so that you can bring some peace on this earth and amongst you, women, and then that will breach peace into the man. It will bridge peace to the man, to the male folks. You see what I'm saying, my sister? And lastly, I want to say this about the marijuana. I don't want to forget to say this. Marijuana has always been a estrogen-inducing drug. If you remember, the letter J is only like 300 years old. J is a degenerate I. So the original name for marijuana is Mari-Inana. Mare, Inana. It is a drug. Not a drug. It is a plant, a medicinal plant that creates balance. Men are not going to turn into women. They're going to be less violent because when somebody smokes some of those trees, they're not trying to go shoot up people.
Real mellow, right.
They're not trying to fight and beat on the kids and the woman. I'm just saying, because I know from research, Mary Inanna, we know that Inanna is a mother of light, one of the divas, and Ma-Ray or Mary is Ma-Ray, talking about that solar emphatic energy. Again, Mary Inanna is for balance. And I know people abuse it. But if you use it right, it will create a peacefulness within you. I don't consume it, but I've known people who do, and they are much calmer. It has done things for them that this synthetic medicine could not do.
Right.
No, they shouldn't abuse it, but some people do need that calmness. So again, y'all too deep for me. Y'all got me excited over here. I'm gonna yield the mic. I'm gonna yield the mic, okay?
Okay, then. Peace and love, sis. Thank you so much.
Okay,
that's Sis Sapphire. Now, Sis Lioness, she brought up something, and I'm like, that I wanted you to speak on. When she talked about the woman in Thor that came back and was kicking ass and was doing the activation, and she was activating that Kabbalah, and she started naming those planets, lining up. You know, I thought about September 23rd, 2017, when she talked about the true trinity between the mother and the 2 twins. And a couple of months ago, before September 23rd happened, right around those dates, and actually on September 23rd, you did a couple of powerful shows about what that date really meant. And you talked about the birth of the 2 lions, So I didn't know if you wanted to put something on that, but thanks, Sis Sapphire, for bringing that up again, because that was on my list to talk about, that astrological event that happened this year on September 23rd, where the woman, and some say that was Sekhmet, with the lion of Leo over her head, the moon beneath her feet, she was cloaked with the sun over her shoulder, and all those other planets lined up, symbolizing the activation of the divine feminine rising back up. Okay, so thanks to Sapphire for bringing that out. Okay, so we probably only have like 30 more minutes. I did want to squeeze in another video we are going to have time for, because Brother Natural Tahuti, he split up a video in 4 parts called The Cosmic Mother. Okay? So again, it's called The Cosmic Mother. It's off of the YouTube channel Natural Tahuti. He split it up in 4 parts, 15-minute segments. Sorry, go ahead, sis.
Yeah, that's ironic, not ironic, but ironic. Iron, okay, 9, feminine. That you bring that up. That you're going to play that, because the Cosmic Mother is the Great Mother. The Cosmic Mother is Sekhmet. That's the original mama, and the original lioness, okay?
Yes.
It's about healing and love, and the basic 5 bodies that go to build the 7, that go to build the 11, that go to build the 9/11, that go to build the 12 and beyond. So it's all in there. And it's about the true cat head originality of it all, and the ankh that they carry in your heart, in your gut, in your brain, and your body is an ankh itself if you're going to be on that physical plane, and some of the spiritual, physical, metaphysical planes. But then you go to where you can't even hold all of the light, enlightenment, and love, and other entities that derive from there into a structure called a body. So know that this is truly wonderful. You will be dancing and singing, become more beautiful. Take all of this in, but expand yourself, each and every one. Expand yourself. I'm being the mother now, because that's all I can be, is be who I am, and I am that I am, this lioness. Okay. I don't need anybody. This is Mother speaking through me now. I don't need anybody to be other than who they are, as you agreed to for this circle and cycle of time and nature and events to take place. Do that in all loving, peaceful, and in speech, whether it be verbal or non-communicative, in a way that people can just sense it's okay. Do that with all the smoothness and fluidity that you can, for the chaos has now come to be wrapped back around by the cosmos. So that's your lead into your thing, and thank you.
All right. And Sis Lioness, before I forget, because we're probably going to rock out with this first video of the Cosmic Mother, Part 1. I was asked, you did a couple of shows over the weekend, and some people could not get on. They tried to dial in and couldn't get on, so they want the replay information. So if you want to send that to me, I'll make sure that it gets posted. And are you having a show this tomorrow or Saturday?
I am doing a call on Saturday for sure. I may do Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, because wrapping these things all together and showing the connectivity and a little bit of the distance so that you see that it is all about your DNA. And it's I want to also say that I'm going to have new call numbers, because now for those of you who are on T-Mobile and or Metro PCS, you will now be able to be on these other calls without having to worry that you couldn't get in. Because I had many people Friday and Saturday, but look at this. Look at how mother helped mother. They sent somebody. They called me here on Christmas Eve, so-called. Okay, but own that Christmas too, because that's Christmas. That's your ability to attain that title and position, that level of consciousness. So they called. They worked with me to get that up there. And then they gave me that plus something else. So as soon as we finish work it out, there will be a way for everybody to utilize that kind of a thing and see some of the documents and things like that, even if you don't see the caller. It will be able to function that way. So, yes, I am, and thank you for that. Those two tied a lot of this together as well. Just everybody be you. Everybody who's you. Y'all are fine. You're perfectly made. We're going to form another more perfect union. So just thank you.
Indeed. Okay, Sis Linus, and I'll make sure I post up the information for Sis Lioness shows as well. So I'm not sure if we're going to get cut off. So let me give this source before we go into it, because if we do, please, if you can, go and watch the remaining. This series is called The Cosmic Mother, and it's off of the YouTube channel Natural Tahuti. So I split it up into two parts. I see where he had the war on women and then the cleansing. Okay.
Exactly.
So I think I'm going to take it. No, I'm just going to stick with it. So we're going to go into the part one. Here we go, family. Because then I mess around, take it out of order, and mess something up. So here we go.
A movie you want to see? I got only a few copies. The Speed of Thought. The Speed of Thought, which is teaching you about the astral plane. He actually goes, able to communicate with somebody across the room, they meet on the astral plane, and he begins to teach them lessons on other techniques to do. And of course, the master of it was able to actually give people other thoughts who were not in tune. Get this movie, The Speed of Thought. Of course, you ain't gonna get it at the movie house or anything like that. The guy who played in the Terminator. We also have the previous classes that we did here on Black Sexuality. Me and Inky did, and we get ready for our 5th installment with this brother, Natural Tahuti. Brother did a great, excellent lecture at what was that school over here? Harriet Tubman. Excellent lecture on Harriet Tubman. And so did Ali Muhammad. They both did great lectures. But I saw at Tahuti things that I was talking about years ago, and I said, that's what we need. Wake up people, reawaken to the goddess energy, because women need more compassion, really. They are considered the weaker sex, but man itself is man and woman, really. But females are more emotional and all these other things, so we have to kind of help them along in their ego, in teaching them about the science of self, sexuality, as well as the man, okay, as well as the man. But the females really need more right now because of the thyroidism, hyperthyroid and hypothyroid problems. And so they have a lot of low self-worth, you know, killing themselves, drowning their babies and all that kind of stuff. You see all of that all the time, so that's why. And the goddess is where we all come from. I don't know about you. Some people get the Caesarean crack and say, oh, what you coming out of the goddess's wormhole? You coming out as a Caesarean, Caesar's way. You gonna cut your ass out, okay? So everybody didn't come here through the black hole. You gotta understand that. The black hole shapes your head like Akhenaten. That's called phrenology, okay? Without further ado, because I can't wait to hear what this brother gonna say. Here he is, my brother, Natural Tahuti. What's up, my brother?
All right. Brother, awesome. Thank you for inviting me here. And let me just reintroduce myself. My name is Natural Tahuti, a.k.a. the son of Sekhmet, a.k.a. the seed of Kalima. And I take on those titles of Sekhmet as the son of Sekhmet and the seed of Kalima because in the Nile Valley, Sekhmet, and over in the Indus Valley, Kali and Sekhmet is the same deity. Sekhmet is the great mother who comes in the form of a destroyer. She comes to lay it down. When there's dissatisfaction, she comes as a corrector. See, most of us think that females are only passive and submissive, but that's not true. And if you got a black woman, you know that's not true. They have two sides to them. They can be very vicious. If you attack a female's child, you will definitely see her other side. There has been women who have lifted whole trucks and cars to get her child from an accident up under those trucks. So she definitely has both the sun and the moon in her because she produces both. And when you look at the cosmology of ancient Kemet, you see from the goddess Nut, right from her womb, she is producing the sun. You see? So the goddess is time itself, and that's why the calendar and the clock was created according to the cycles of the woman. So I liken myself to the goddess Sekhmet and the goddess Kali as her son. Because I come from a school, I came out the nation of gods and earths, you know, the nation of Islam, and you know what their teachings are, that the black man is God. So I went with that teaching for a lot of years, right? And I have to say that it does produce that type of energy where, you know, the man becomes mastering over the woman. You know, I became so much involved in the egotism of I'm the God and the supreme being that I couldn't stand women that would try to like, you know, buck up against me. You know what I mean? She's got to be submissive, and that's no other way around it. But you know, as during my journey, I started doing more research and more studying, and you know, I'm not a part of the nation anymore because my teachers have elevated and they won't allow me to teach anything about ancient Kemet or anything of that nature in the nation. So I left the nation and got on this path. But somewhere about last year, I had a spiritual awakening to the goddess. And it happened that I went to the 5%ers Parliament, and there was a brother there that knows me, and he handed me a book called The Goddess Syndrome. He kept begging me, yo, brother, you gotta read this, because they know my beliefs that I teach that the black woman is God. So when I read it, the book appalled me because it was so denigrating to women. What? It was very denigrating. They said a goddess ain't nothing but a faggot. They said if the world had been all women, we would all be faggots. So I said, this is crazy, because I remember that they had a teaching that the moon was separated from the earth. And at that time on the moon, it was all men. And so, before the moon came. And so they say that when the earth and moon separated, the weak men laid down, and from the explosion, their genitals went inward and upward, and their mammary glands came out. So this is a teaching, and some of them may try to deny it, but the teaching is still around. And matter of fact, the brother quoted it in the pamphlet called The Goddess Syndrome. So basically, you know, he said that men who worship the women as goddess are weak men. So when that happened, you know, I was kind of upset by the book. So I challenged the brother. I said, listen, this is garbage. Y'all teaching this? This is historically inaccurate, and it's scientifically inaccurate, metaphysically inaccurate. To say that the woman is secondary or most feminine, this is all inaccurate, and we need to give this type of teaching a facelift, because we're living in a very dangerous time now. And on this planet, Europeans know about the goddess. That's why you have the Statue of Liberty out there in the ocean. And if you look at her crown, you'll see she's a sun goddess. You see? They know about this. And when you look at the justice system, you'll see that justice has a blindfold over her, because they blindfolded the woman. They subjugated the woman many, many years ago. Now, I just did a lecture in Virginia, and I talked about this, because a lot of times we like to throw the white man around as a scapegoat. We do not try to deal with the part of our history and what part we played. Because I said, well, listen, if we are the gods and goddesses of this planet and the masters of this universe, how did we let some teenage mutant ninja turtles come from the caves of Europe and come into our holy land and take our stuff and just did what they wanted to do, and now they're the masters of the planet? How did that happen? You see, how did that happen? If we are the mystical, the magical, the metaphysical, we all of these things, you just call it a Tootsie Roll. We're all of those good things wrapped up in one. So how did this happen? You see? I had to have more than the story that I was told by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that we made a devil and, we made him to show and prove that we was God. There was something more to this story than meets the eye. And so I did the research, and when I found out the first wars on the planet, they didn't happen between Europeans and Africans. Well, there were Africans on the planet. We were the only people here. Right. The first wars on the planet were between Africans and Africans, and they were gender wars. This is the part of our story we don't like to identify, because we have this romanticized version of our story. And a lot of us are still under the male patriarchy spell. So when you read our history books, we have some stories about the woman, but she's like little more than just his helpmate and some great mother that, you know, helped in the village and stuff like that. But we don't hear the real roles of women and what they played. So these wars began in Egypt. Somewhere during the first dynasty, the matriarchy began to start turning over into a patriarchy during the rule of men. And up until around the 18th dynasty, the priesthood became very corrupt, because we had some invasions going on, and they became very, very corrupt. The priesthood of Amen and the clans of Horus did something that never was done before for the first time on the planet, and that was they destroyed the temples of the Great Mother. And they began to start changing the cosmology around to reflect these male deities as opposed to the goddess, the organic goddess. Because when you deal with the male deities as the creator, it's a little inorganic, because these gods have to resort to masturbating, ingesting the semen into his body for gestation in order to give birth to the universe. Whereas the goddess This is organic. The universe comes right out of her womb. Because in the older cosmologies, they talk about the cosmic egg. You see? Which I'm going to show today. That's basically what I'm going to do today, is deal with these particular patterns in nature. So, let's get to this. The goddess Kali, as you can see right here, this is her Aryanized form. Okay? They tried to really vilify her. But Kali, the word Kali in itself means black. Okay? Or what word that was equal to the word black at that particular day and time. And you see she has a number of arms here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? And under her, you see a male. There's a man that she has her foot on. And he is a white male. Right? So, in my interpretation of this, we are now living in the return of the goddess Kali. Kali has returned on the set, and she is here to destroy the white male patriarchy. Okay? Now, in the version of this story, this is her husband, Shiva. Okay? Because the planet was inhibited, or in other words, in the beginning, it was the goddess. And from the goddess, man, really I don't even like to say that word goddess, because goddess don't even come into the lexicon until around 1350. She's the god. A lot of people say, well, God is masculine, and I prove that's not true. But this is her husband, and this is Shiva. You see what I'm saying to you? And she is subduing her husband, and he has a drum somewhere right here because she's in such rage. That's why you see her tongue with the blood red. She is in such rage that she is only concerned with destroying. But she is also the most kindest, the most lovingest, and the most compassionate being in the universe. You see? But he has a drum here because in order to stop her from subduing the earth and just destroying it and obliterating it, he plays the music to calm her down and bring her back into memory. So let's go.
Okay. Okay, family. So I'm going to just go into part 2. I'm sure we only have a couple of minutes left. We will be back next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I want to thank. You know what? I won't rush it because we can pick it up next week, and as well as what our new topic will be. Sis, do you have any last words for the family? Okay.
Yeah, I would like to say it was good to be back with everyone. Maybe I'll feel a lot better next week.
Yeah,
and won't have this. Yeah. But I enjoyed everyone, Sister Sapphire and Sister Lioness. You know, y'all guys getting to be my favorite folks.
Indeed. Thanks,
it's very deep. Very deep.
Yeah.
And thank you both and everybody for their wise wisdom. It's great to hear it.
Indeed.
And I say have a blessed one and live good.
All right. Brother Sean, you have any last words for the family?
It's all love. And stay warm. Check on your neighbors. That's whether it's bad. I mean, show some love. Check on your people.
Yes. Sis Lioness, any last words for the family? And thank you again for joining us. I truly appreciate it.
I'm grateful, I'm thankful, I'm loving, I'm caring. I can kick ass too, okay? But
that's right.
It's all good right now. Just hug yourself, love yourself, and open up your arms, your eyes, your lips, your heart, and that gut, and see what's going on. Your mind will be taken care of because you will be in better stead and in alignment. And this month, every day, remember that you have the power of the one in front of you and the power of the 11 in back of you every single day. So the rest is up to you. But Mama's wrapping herself around you no matter what.
Indeed. Thank you, Sis Lioness, and thank you to the family. Thank you, Sis Sapphire, for putting something on it. We're going to be back next Thursday. I'm going to pick up where we left off, and then we'll also have a new topic. Not sure what that will be right now, so we're going to rock out with Black Butterfly. Thank you so much, family. Peace and love.